What's up, guys? If you're interested in hanging out and chatting with me while I grab footage that you'll likely see in future videos, head on over to my Twitch channel linked in the description below, where we can talk all things COD, gaming, whatever life throws at us. Hope to see you there, but let's get back into the content at hand. What's crazy to me is that Warzone has now officially been out to the world for play for over half a year. I don't know if I'm the weirdo here, but it still doesn't feel like it's been that much time since the launch, or at least, at the very least, it feels like it's gone by pretty fast. But during that span of half a year, we've seen plenty of things come and go, from loot, meta weapons, and everything in between, and not often can you genuinely consider an item rare in a game that cycles out as constant as Warzone. But today I wanted to explore a handful of the rarest items in Warzone, some of which you may not have even known existed. So we're going to dive into that here today. As we go along, let me know your thoughts down below. How many of these have you come across? How many maybe have you never seen before? Let me know in the comments below. As well, if you are new to the channel, do be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Warzone, Modern Warfare, and of course Black Ops Cold War, as we round into an exciting few weeks coming up here. But anyways, let's get into it. Let's start out with some of the rarest of the rare items, but items that are not really circumstantial and dependent on when you play the game, and that will make sense here in just a little bit of time. But firstly, let's start out with some items that are hidden away and there's only one of them on the field at a time. Introduced in Season 5 was the inside of Stadium, and admittedly, if we were to wait and discuss this information a week later, we'd see if there were any Easter eggs and secrets in the tunnels of Verdansk, but for the time being, Stadium is the most recent addition to the game in terms of playable area. In Stadium, we knew that it was going to be important from the game files for some reason, which we now know is not only because there was an Easter egg surrounding Stadium, but also it was integral to the live event that debuted Black Ops Cold War to the world. But when it was first introduced, players found out that there were multiple key cards that were similar to the previously known red access cards, but they were there only for Stadium. They corresponded with various levels of play. From the executive suites down to the lower parking levels, these key cards led you to server rooms on each of the main levels of play, in which that would also then in turn lead you to the second part of the overall Easter egg. But in those server rooms, there was some high-level loot. Most of the times you were guaranteed legendary crates, meaning a bit more cash, maybe a vest or so, maybe a streak, and maybe a legendary blueprint of a weapon. But also, there were times when players would find something else, exclusive items that granted players just a little bit more in terms of what they could use. And the first of those items is the advanced UAV. And no, this isn't one of those big boys that you have to spend $12,000 on in-game to end up getting the effect of the advanced with a real-time tracing of enemies, but a simple callable item that was literally called the advanced UAV. This, to my knowledge, is again that one-time use thing that there's only one of them on the map at a time, but it gave you all the information that an advanced UAV would, all for simply picking up a keycard and going to the corresponding level and server room that it came along with. Now, this is randomized, so if you try and go to Stadium, it's not a guarantee that you'll end up getting it where I got it or on any of the other levels, but there was the opportunity to do so. The second item acquired in the exact same way is, again, down to random chance, but rare in the fact that there is only one of them at a time and it doesn't spawn all that often. That being the durable gas mask. Now, looking just like a regular gas mask, maybe a little beefier whenever you actually look at it, and as the icon, this is something that is 3 to 4 times more effective and longer lasting than that of your traditional gas mask that you can pick up off dead enemies, and also you can end up buying from the buy stations within Warzone. That means that it will take 3 to 4 seconds for one tick to go down on that gas mask as opposed to the normal 1-to-1 that it usually is within Warzone. So it's incredibly helpful, and if it were to ever say come down to a heal off to win a game, you'd pretty much be guaranteed to end up winning. Unless your enemies were in zone at a buy station, just completely refilling that as soon as one would go away, there'd almost be no chance of losing that. The final rare item that is available from the Stadium Easter egg is one that can be seen in other areas in other very rare instances, but this one in particular is only available from the Easter egg. That being the Juggernaut Suit marker. Now, yes, there is that situation where it is Juggernaut Royale. There's an LTM related to the Juggernaut Suit. Yes, there are very rarely the Juggernaut Suits that drop in crates across traditional BR and Plunder, but if you want the actual Juggernaut Suit marker, one that is individualized and guaranteed for you, or at least if you don't get killed, that calls in that crate, there is one available, again, doing the exact same thing in relation to the Easter egg for Warzone. So that means that just like the multiplayer streak, you'll be able to call that in as if you bought it from the buy station, even though there is no option to. So that's something that gives, of course, a lot more health, a lot more firepower in terms of that minigun, and it's something you can use to absolutely decimate enemies. The final thing that was introduced within Season 5 here, though, in terms of new rare items, is that of the flammable and gas canisters that can be seen sometimes around the map. To my knowledge, I don't think that I've seen anybody pick these up as of recently, but around the start of Season 5, they were being found in random locations to which you could end up picking them up. You could throw them, you could set them down and shoot them as if like an IED you could use as a trap, but they were flammable and gas canisters found around the map in green and red designation. The full reasoning as to why these are here are not quite known just yet. Perhaps they play an integral part and an Easter egg coming up, but they were added into the game within Season 5's update, making them, again, quite rare. The next couple of items I want to talk about are dependent upon when you play, and partially why we started this video now as opposed to waiting to the new season, seeing if maybe there's anything introduced as of next week and Season 6. Because right now, there is an interesting part within Warzone that is particularly bugged so that it can happen and you can experience this on a relatively regular basis, but one, it shouldn't happen like this, and two, it doesn't happen all of the time. That being some ground spawns that are bugged. Superstore in particular is the hotbed, the epicenter here of these bugs. If you drop there, contest, and then win the gunfights, allowing you to come out of there alive, you can come out of there incredibly rich and with a lot of stuff on your person. The first of those things that are rare that you may encounter are some ground spawned cash drops in upwards of over $10,000. So a loadout drop right there, essentially, just in a bag you can pick up by running over it. Now, normally you see cash drops in 500 denominations, 1,200 denominations, sometimes like 3,500, maybe 4,000 out of a legendary crate, but 10,000, that's literally a giant plunder duffel bag full of cash in Warzone Battle Royale. So that's something that is incredibly crazy to come across, but does happen as of Season 5, and I would imagine gets fixed out within Season 6. I think they meant to maybe up the loot drop a little bit, and somebody just added a little bit too much spice in that recipe for the loot around Superstore, but that's something that right now is happening, again, on a somewhat regularly basis, but will be rare when we look back at everything within Warzone. Another thing that does seem to be happening within Superstore, but actually is incredibly rare, is finding loadout drop markers just simply on the ground. Ground spawn loadout drop markers that pop up in very, very rare instances. Again, adding to that sort of, they meant to increase the loot a little bit, but went way too far with it. I ended up finding one on the roof of Superstore and didn't really think twice of it until I looked down. I was like, wait a second, I thought that was a smoke I picked up, but it was a loadout drop, and so it kitted out my squad pretty well right off the rip. Now, another way that you can actually get a free loadout drop marker is by killing somebody that had it on their person and had not called it in just yet. So if you say bait somebody out at a buy zone and they buy one but don't quite throw it down yet, if you kill them, they will drop that and you can pick it up and use it for your team. So that's something also that kind of adds into this here as well. Other items that are rare but again aren't really dependent on when you play and are just found here is the minigun. The minigun is again a wild one, obviously, because we had that Jug Royale, we had the Juggernaut that spawns in, and we also do have that Juggernaut drop marker from the Stadium Easter egg. But there was also a time when you could end up getting the minigun just as itself, a standalone weapon in Bunker 11. That was part of the first wave of the Verdansk Easter egg. For the Bunker 11 Easter egg, you had to activate a phone sequence, translate the Russian communications into corresponding phones around the map, and then head to each of them in a proper order to activate the bunker doors at Bunker 11, which to my knowledge now is actually a no-name bunker, but it's the bunker behind the fire station near Arklov military base. But when completed at the time, there were 2 miniguns that were available for use near the entrance, both of which had enough shots to take a few engagements and could be refilled with munitions boxes. The minigun itself, as with the Juggernaut, you may know, is that it's not incredibly great for long range, but anywhere close and at medium range is a huge danger if you go up against anybody, so you got a good chance to win those gunfights. The only thing though, when this was a standalone minigun, was that you didn't have the armor of the Juggernaut suit, so you had to be a little bit conscious of that. One thing that has come and gone as a rare item, it's been rare in the amount that it drops and then has been increased in previous seasons, is the red access card. Some seasons it's not even there, some seasons it's abundant, and some you'll find it on rare occasions. But the red access cards end up opening any of the bunkers that don't have an Easter egg corresponding to them, or for the most part, most of them, that don't have any keypads or anything that you need to do that's convoluted to get into it. So for the outside bunkers that it opens up, that is something that will allow you to have a ton of loot in there, a bunch of legendary crates, cash, weapons, all that good stuff. The final things that I want to talk about here in terms terms of rarity for Warzone come down to weapons that you may actually have as a result now of Easter eggs that we've had over the course of the last couple of months. The most recent one being the Stadium CR56 AMAX blueprint entitled the Enigma, in which again you had to complete that Easter egg at Stadium, finding those key cards, matching up the corresponding symbols on the server room computers, and then inputting the code into the executive suite on the upper level of Stadium. That will not only then set off some fireworks in Verdansk, but also grant you the ability to get the Enigma blueprint for the CR56 AMAX, coming along with the XRK Zodiac barrel, the APX-5 holographic sight, the FSS close quarters stock, the CR56 rubberized grip, and the Commando foregrip, finishing out what is actually a pretty solid build for a blueprint, and it looks kick-ass if you ask me. The final thing to round out this video on the rarest items of Warzone is that of another blueprint, the Mudrobber MP7 blueprint from the original Easter egg within Verdansk, the Bunker 11 Easter egg. If you open that up, there was in one of the back rooms a blueprint you could pick up of the MP7, which actually at the time that blueprint you picked up wasn't actually the blueprint you got. It was slightly modified in game, but the Mudrobber comes along with the monolithic suppressor, the 5 milliwatt laser, the no stock, the 60 round mag, and the Ranger foregrip. Honestly looking like an incredible build of a weapon in terms of camo, a matte black but gloss black finish also with some yellow trim to it, and a build that honestly isn't too terrible. So definitely worth grabbing if you haven't done so already. And truth be told, don't tell anybody this, but I don't have either of them because both times these Easter eggs were introduced, my squad was one of the first ones to complete it, and it actually wasn't tracking properly both of those times. So I guess I gotta go back and do them again. But anyways, that's gonna wrap up this video here of the rarest items of Warzone as of right now. Maybe we do have to make an amendment to this as of next week, but we'll see how everything works out. For the time being though, I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of this? Have you seen all of these items? Do you have most of them? Have you encountered most of them? Or maybe not so much? Let me know in the comments. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so when it's a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare, Warzone, and Black Ops Cold War. We got a lot of stuff up on deck, so stick it here for all that. If you also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get kicked outside of YouTube. Probably live on both those. If you guys want to start up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. But let's end out of the way. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.